If you happen to be watching us on QSportsTalk.com, you'll see our next guest live and in person, another member of the class of 2026 recruiting class that Fran Brown is putting together, the number one ranked punter in the country, Jimmy Gregg, joining us here on the show. Jimmy, thanks so much for coming on. I love the fact that you got your Q shirt on. Congratulations on the decision. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing great. We're doing great. So we've been talking to a few of the commits in this class of 2026, and I lead them all off with the same way. Why Syracuse? You're the number one ranked punter in the country. You had opportunities to go a lot of different places. Why did you pick Syracuse?
I mean, I just think that the staff that Coach Fran is building is special. I mean, he brought on Coach Brumfield from Georgia Tech a few months ago, and I already had a relationship with quality control special teams Coach Cole, and he's just been amazing the entire time. And not only having him, but also having Coach Brumfield on, as well as having Coach Fran push for that. I can just tell that culture-wise and responsibility-wise, they understand that, special teams, there is three sides of the game. And to be a winning team, to win a national championship, you need to have a good punter. And I felt more valued at Syracuse than anywhere else.
Shea Barker, the other specialist who's committed to this class of 2026, said that one thing that he loved about Fran Brown was that he emphasizes with all the players on the team propping up kickers and punters, even after they make a mistake, trying to keep them in a positive mindset. Did anything like that kind of stick out to you, whether it's from, Coach Fran or another member of the coaching staff or, during your recruiting process that led you to say, yeah, I like the positivity there. I like the vibe and, that's where I want to play?
Well, I mean, Coach Brumfield's philosophy whenever we broke down scheme is he's like, you go out there and everybody's thinking, you have one job, but you also have to be able to repeat that job. So whenever you make mistakes, their goal is to build you back up so that you can have one mistake, right? You can limit the amount of mistakes that you're making, right? So, whenever I go out there, let's say I shank a punt, let's make it the best shank that it can possibly be at practice so that it's still a playable ball. And then whenever I get back to the sideline, hey man, next punt. It doesn't matter. You got us good yardage. It was a fair catch. Next punt. And it's just a positive reinforcement that you get from coaches rather than, getting yelled at. It helps you keep your mind in the game. And I think that matters a lot,
You talked about the coaches getting you to Syracuse. How much did playing indoors for half your games every year factor into it?
I mean, honestly, it didn't really matter about the dome to me. I mean, my numbers are going to be great. I have no conditions, but I feel like it was really just the coaching staff more so than the actual location. I mean, I would play in a wind tunnel if it meant that I got to have Coach Fran, Coach Brumfield, and Coach Cole.
I love that. That's a great comment. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you could, Jimmy. When did you first start punting? How long have you been doing it? When did you realize, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
So I actually started punting my 8th grade year. My mom finally let me play football because I was taller than her. My mom's like 5'7", and I was like this tubby lineman kid, and I had a soccer background. So I went out there for my 8th grade team, started punting. Freshman year, I was the punter. And then my special teams coordinator my sophomore year, he was like, you need to take this seriously. I don't think that you're very good at outside linebacker. I was like, I would agree. And then I started training with Coach Stonehouse, who's based out of Buffalo. And it really just took me off. I mean, we got everything down. What do you see in an NFL punter? How can we translate it to your body mechanics is really what we worked a lot on. And, so far, we've gone from being an average high school punter, and he's done a great job with his staff to make me number one. And it's been a long process. I mean, it's taken a year and a half just to get everything to where it is right now. But, it's a change that I definitely would never, ever change. You know what I mean? Switching from outside linebacker to punter. So.
Yeah, there's a long list, and I don't know if you're aware or unaware, but there's a long list of really good punters that have come through here. Riley Dixon, the latest, he grew up just down the road, went to Christian Brothers Academy here in Syracuse. He's about to enter his 10th year in the NFL, and now with the Buccaneers. Are you aware of, I guess, the punters that this program has turned out, and is that the ultimate goal for you to end up playing on Sundays?
Yes, sir. Actually, whenever I got on my own, they handed me a packet, and it was full of all this information about Syracuse, and it was like specialists in the NFL. So it was personalized to my specific position. It wasn't, hey, come here. This is what we've done with other positions. This is what we can do with you. There was a proven track record of putting NFL punters from Syracuse. And that's the other thing. On my first visit, whenever I got my scholarship from Coach Fran, he asked me, he said, do you want to play on Sundays? And I was like, yeah, I want to play on Sundays. And he was like, good, because I don't want anybody who doesn't want to play on Sundays on my team. So that was another thing for me. It was a culture thing. I mean, he expects greatness out of us, and he expects us to work really hard. And, I don't want to be on a team where my teammates aren't working as hard as I want to work. So I'm glad that he's building that culture here.
How much time did you spend on your recruiting visit or when you were on campus with the current punter, Jack Stonehouse? He's kind of become a fan favorite around here. Did you have any, opportunity to speak with him? And, what did he tell you about, whether it's the fan base here or playing at Syracuse?
So I spent a lot of time with Jack on both of my visits. On my first one, we went to Dinosaur Barbecue together, and I got to know him. And he told me, this is what the staff is like, working with Coach Cole is amazing. He's going to be the person you spend a lot of time with. He's going to be the guy, fixing you technically. And he said he just loves it here. The fans are amazing. It's not a hateful group of fans. It's a supportive group. So let's say something happens, you always have people to lean back on. It's not going to be people blasting you on Twitter. And I spent time with him on my official visit, and it was just like he said that it's business, but you get to enjoy it. It's not an unenjoyable experience working this hard. He told me that, there's midnight runs, but you wouldn't trade it for anything. You know what I mean? So I really liked how he made Syracuse's layout feel, because, that makes me as an incoming recruit feel like, okay, if Jack can do it, I feel like we have similar mindsets. If Jack can do it, I can absolutely do it.
All right, Jimmy, tell us a little bit about yourself off the field. When you're not playing football, what are some of your hobbies? What are some of your interests? What do you like off the field?
So off the field, I really like golfing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the joke. It's, what do kickers and punters do? They golf. And I golf a lot. I like to work out. You know what I mean? I like to keep myself healthy. And I also do Alex's Lemonade Stand. So I did Punt Cancer with Jimmy Gregg last year, and I was the leading fundraiser in the nation last year. So I'm gonna do round 2 of that this year, and I want to raise even more. It's one of my big goals for the season.
That's amazing, Jimmy. Great stuff. And since you brought it up, I wasn't going to go there, but since you brought it up, Coach Fran is heavily involved in this community, and he wants his players to get heavily involved in the community. Did you guys connect on that level as well? It sounds like that's something that's very important to you.
Yes, sir. I mean, Coach Fran and I feel like we share a lot of core values, faith, family, and football, right? And I feel like, if I can build something here while I'm playing high school football, whenever I'm on a national stage, I feel like I can help even more people with an even bigger audience. And I feel like that's really what the end goal is. I mean, it's all bigger than football. I can't go out there and just punt. You know what I mean? There has to be a bigger impact that I can make for communities everywhere. And I feel like pairing up with Coach Fran, somebody who values, community involvement as much as I do, I feel like that's definitely going to help me.
Really well said, Jimmy. I can tell Syracuse has a great one in you. I so much enjoyed this interview. Anything else? Any final thoughts that you want to pass along to Orange Nation, to our listeners today before we let you go?
I just want to let everybody know that we're going to win a national championship in the next 4 years. And everybody can say what they want. The ACC rankings came out; they have us at 4 wins. They doubted us last year; they can doubt us again. but it doesn't matter what people think. You know, we have a different drive in us, and Coach Fran is going to push us to be the best team in the country, and I fully believe that.
All right, Jimmy, listen, I've enjoyed this. Best of luck as you wrap things up at the high school level. We can't wait to see you on campus next year. Thanks so much for coming on. Continued success to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, Jimmy Gregg joining us here on the show, the number one ranked punter in the country, University High School in West Virginia. Seems like a really nice young man, Paul.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him if he's like, does he sit and think about the fake punt? Like he's just waiting for that.
I mean, you could have chimed in.
I know. I've always I wanted to, like, Riley Dixon just jumping dudes. I wonder if that, like, is just a dream of every punter, just to run down the field, knocking people over.
I would assume so.